Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Katie.
Good morning.
Morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning, everyone.
And Spence is here.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. I don't remember. Did Nick said he was not going to be here today? I don't remember.
Don't remember.
I don't pay attention to what he says.
I know.
Just kidding. Don't tell him I said that.
So,
I have an update. It's talking about Katie time.
Katie time.
Yeah, yesterday it's not tech related, but my stairs are trying to kill me. I fell down them yesterday again. I was wearing socks and my stairs, they don't go straight up. They go up and then there's a little bit of a landing and then they turn and then there's like 4 more that go up. So luckily I fell down the 4, so I didn't have to go all the way down the stairs. But I was wearing socks and I was holding a lid to one of my storage bins or whatever, and I hit this stair just right that my socks slipped out from underneath me. So it was like a cartoon, like I slipped on a banana peel, and I went ah! And I threw the lid up and then just slowed.
And the stairs are carpeted.
Yeah, they're carpeted, and my right butt cheek took the one for the team, so it is nice and bruised, but I feel a lot better today. Yesterday I couldn't even walk, but I was like, of course it would happen. And because yesterday I had my paint and sip in downtown Raleigh, and that's where I 3D printed some stuff, and then people showed up to the game lounge / bar and we painted the models. They bought tickets, and it was fun. We had 7 people show up, and we filled up 2 tables, and I had the paints and I was helping them paint the models, and everybody had a lot of fun, and the time went really fast. Like it was 4 hours we were gonna sit there, and I was like, 4 hours? We don't need 4 hours. We needed 4 hours. But it was fun. We got drinks from the bar while we were painting, and everybody enjoyed it, and they're like, we should do this again, and I'm like, yeah, we should do this again.
The 3D, not the stairs thing.
Oh yeah, let's not fall down the stairs again. That's I've already done it twice. I don't know if if I could survive another 4 days, then or 5 days, then I'll make it to the end of the year, because I'm gonna go out of town. So my stairs can't get me then.
Yeah,
and then,
it seems like you need to go and get yourself a runner.
On carpet?
Over the carpet,
No,
like
you
one
can
of
get
those.
on. Are you? Well, yeah, that doesn't.
Right.
You can get.
I just need to learn how to walk on stairs. Apparently,
No, it's not that.
No.
No.
You can get
Slippers.
stair treads that lay on top that are. You don't have to even staple them down. They're meant to sit on top of carpet, but you can buy them in stair size. You just lay them on there, and one won't slide.
I guess. Or I was like, I just can't wear socks in my house anymore.
Well, you see, that's the thing.
I have slippers. They're on right now. But the problem with the slippers is like they get too hot on my feet. And then when I have to go outside and do stuff, I can't slip them on with my Crocs, because they won't fit in my Crocs.
Of course.
Go to the store. Get some soccer cleats.
Yeah, that's what I
wear
need
those
to wear. Yeah. I just need to, I guess, be careful and go slow.
Who was it? Somebody got some of those things you're talking about, Spence, that you lay on top, and they come in all kind of different colors and
Yes, and patterns.
designs,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they actually made it so it fit and it matched, so it wasn't like standing out. But
Also look like a carpet.
Yeah, well, the first time I fell down the stairs, which was, I don't know, 7 months ago, I blamed my mom because she gave me socks that were way too soft and smooth. And so I was like, I just slip and slide down these stairs with these socks. But this time I was wearing my own socks, so I couldn't blame her anymore.
and you couldn't hold the rail.
Nope, it happened too fast.
Yep,
I
yep.
hit the ground like a stone, just where however that expression goes.
Mm.
And I was, well, the thing too is I was holding thing the lid in both. I could have held it with one hand, I don't know, but
No, I mean,
but and then so I couldn't grab it, but it went boom, and I went to the landing.
oh,
You're going to have to sue the apartment renter for damages.
yeah.
You mean
The
me?
la-
I
the
could
landlord.
sue myself.
Sue yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as as the homeowner. Yeah. I'm just, you know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to hit the gym and work on my glutes, because if they're gonna keep taking this beating, then we're gonna have to like pump some iron into them.
Get you one of those stair climber things.
Yeah,
Just
or
ride that up and down.
I could just wear like hockey pants because they're padded in the butt. Yeah, my mom jokes.
Okay.
She's like, because mom lives in a retirement community, and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to get life alert."
I think you should get a webcam, full-time webcam, and just have it on the stairs so we can watch to make sure you're
Right,
okay.
right. But in other news too, because I'm gonna like catch everybody up on my business, is
Yeah.
Bamboo Labs came out with a new printer. I don't remember if I talked about it last weekend.
You
that
said they were going to.
Yeah. So they released it December 14th, and it was I said that I wasn't gonna buy a new 3D printer because of so what I'm running into issues now is that I love my 3D printer, but it can only hold one spool at a time. And so when it runs out of the spool, I have to physically go over there and replace it and swap it out. However, they do make a multi-spool holder thing, and the printer will do it automatically. It's called an AMS. I don't remember what it stands for. But to buy an AMS, it costs $350, and I was like, that's a lot of money. But this new printer, what they did is they cut down on costs on the body of the printer by not including it in like a box or a cage or whatever. And it's a sling bed. So it's a little bit different, but it includes an AMS with it. So you get the combo, and the combo of the printer with the AMS was around the same price as a P1P printer without the AMS. So I was like, sold. I had to get one because I've been talking about how I wanted to get an AMS for a while now to cut time on because it becomes a pain in the butt to have to keep swapping them out. So yeah, my new printer comes this week, and I'm excited.
And you swiping them out for different color, or for because it ran out?
It just ran out because when
Okay.
it runs out, it stops production, obviously, until you go and you swap out the filament. So save a lot of time. And also too, I could support multicolored printing at that point. It's just I don't really have a need for it at this moment, but that doesn't mean in the future I won't, because it's a big thing. Like you can make signs and stuff with different colors. But yeah. Oh, and I bought a rack for my 3D printers, or a shelving unit. So I'm scared to put all 4 on there, so I just have 2 on the bottom. And then the middle shelf has all the spools.
Are you afraid because?
Because I didn't go with I was looking into, it's not werewolf, what is it called? Wolverine? Husky? I don't know. There's like those big heavy duty brands for the shelving units, but they were like $300, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. So I bought a $70 garage rack from Home Depot or Lowe's, and theoretically I could put all 4 printers on there because it can hold the weight no problem. I'm just worried about the vibrations when because
I
the
don't
printer.
know why you're afraid of attaching it to the wall. One screw, one in the center of it to a stud, and that's it. Yes, if you take it off, there's going to be a little hole in the wall,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Well,
it's no big deal.
I think it's because I'm still viewing my printer room as a temporary solution. I keep thinking that like maybe in the future if I get more printers, I don't know. You're just right. I just need to do that.
You can do it, and if you do move it, then a little
Fill
dab
the hole.
of.
Yeah, you're right. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. It's just scary. Scary to commit to putting holes in your wall.
No, it's not.
No, it's your wall.
Yep.
Yeah, well, my stairs are trying to kill me, so I have to be
Yeah, but it's
careful what
very
I
easy to
do to
fix a
my
hole.
wall.
Like,
I know,
let's
you're
put it
right.
this way.
You're right. I know. I agree.
Even if you had like a hole in the size of a fist, not just a small, it's still very easy to fix.
You just
Okay?
hang a picture over it.
Oh, I know why I can't put it up against the wall. It's because I need access to the back of the printer.
Yeah. So what are
because
you
that's
going? Are you going to move the rack in order to get to the back of the printer?
No, right now I have the rack in sort of like 2 feet away from the wall because that's where I replaced so the front of the printer has the screen, and then the back of the printer is where the spool supports.
Okay.
I mean, there's mods to move it.
Yeah, you can
Sounds like she needs to put it on a drawer. Something that goes out.
On a slide, like.
But
Yeah.
then you have you didn't solve the vibration stuff. Yeah, that's a problem.
It's okay. Again, just baby steps.
How about just having the side attached to the wall then? No, not enough to get away with the vibration though.
Yeah. Actually, that's a very good idea, Gal, because you can attach one side to the wall, one side to the wall, and the other side with a little rod that will go and attach. And even if it's not at the very end, because a stud will not be right there, you put it between the wall and the shelving unit just for the vibration. It's not going to be a load bearing.
Yeah, for the vibration, the only thing you can do is maybe attach it like a rod that comes from the ceiling. But if you take it from the same wall, you didn't do anything. Because it's just too long. So the end of the shelving will vibrate compared to what's close to the wall. Anyway, welcome to Shelving's 2K.
Yeah, Shelving 101. Yeah, we can talk about other things now. I just have to update my loyal fans about what's going on in my life. 1, I fell down, but I survived. 2, I got a new printer. And 3, I did a paint and sip. So
you know what? Before I forget, what happens if the shelving unit is against the wall? Can you work with it?
No, because I need access to the back of the
wait,
printer.
wait. You need access to do stuff, but when you are right now, let's say it's printing, if it was against the wall, is there a problem?
Yeah, because the spool sticks out the back.
Okay.
Wait.
Never mind.
What if you just put you rotate the printer 90 degrees? Like you need access from the front, like full access.
Yeah,
can you access it from the side?
That's where the screen is. No, because then I can't pull out the build plate.
Never mind. I had an idea of hanging it on the wall with heavy duty hinges, and you can just swing it when you get, but you can't go, but you need, never mind.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what else been happening this week?
I've been asked a favor by a family member to figure out if there's something to do with an old computer. That computer is an i3 model from 2011. So Windows 11 is out of the question. No TPM, and it's been running Windows 10 for a while, but Windows 10 is about to
Another
stop
2
getting
years.
security updates. So the whole idea of running old OSs while will make the hardware function, there's no security updates, right? So I was looking at alternatives. Obviously, there's Linux, which I know, but I was thinking maybe there's some way of getting security patches for creating an environment that they already know, not teaching them a new OS. And sent you guys a link to actually a surprisingly very well done article online from Tech, Take Radar,
Yeah.
where they reviewed a long list of alternative OSs, and I think this is something that would interest our. So one of the I think the most surprising entry there was the OS, a successor to OS 2.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and the reason it was very surprising is because it's not available for free. It's
Yeah,
they
and it wasn't cheap.
yeah, like 129 for a personal license and 229 for a commercial license. Uh, and so it's called Arca OS. I'll actually send the link for the Take Radar article in the chat, but uh, it's called Arca OS, and apparently it basically an up to date OS 2 clone, 32 bits, so can run on very old hardware. Um, and yeah, I remember OS 2 as being way before Windows XP came out, being as the most interesting alternative OS out there to DOS and Windows, because it was, they used to call it the object-oriented OS. Was the first time uh, in a graphical environment that everything was somehow interconnected with anything else, and if you connected with it, it'll still stay connected, even if you, I don't know, renamed the object or something like that. It wouldn't, none of the connections between objects in the OS was static. Everything was really dynamic, uh, but it never really got lifted up for personal use. Software was never, there wasn't a lot of software written for desktop use, except I do remember it was very heavily invested in some commercial aspects, either commerce or medical devices. I remember for years after that seeing it on some of the um, European make medical devices back in Israel. So it was always a surprise to see, had something unique about its interface. It's like a bit too straight. Anyway, if you're really into old OSs and you want to shell out some cash, Arca OS is definitely something to take a look at. Then that list provides another a whole slew of OSs that I've really forgotten about. Haiku is successor to BOS. If you all remember that excursion, I think if I remember correctly, BOS was supposed to be the OS for Next, the computer that Steve Jobs designed when he left. He was kicked out of Apple, uh, and it was very short lived because that company uh, basically disappeared when Steve Jobs came back to Apple. So there's that. Now, if you're wanting to still run an old version of Windows, uh, but you can't use Microsoft Windows because those do not get any security updates anymore, there is React OS. And React OS is an open source alternative to Windows. It is a Windows clone, um, and it's built from scratch with open source code that has nothing to do with the Windows code, but it supports and runs Windows application. Their current goal is to be fully compatible with Windows Server 2003, so it's based on the NT architecture. And it's a very, very interesting OS. Uh, uh, from what they say, you can run Firefox and Opera on it, and LibreOffice on it. Obviously, it won't run any of the Microsoft tools that require their proprietary libraries, but uh, it's pretty impressive. There's always FreeDOS. If you have something that can run on DOS, there is a clone for Chrome OS that is maintained by a community called WIN11. And if you want the look and feel of Sun OS, then there is Open Indiana. And then there are some very bizarre entries there that I'll let you explore on your own. If there's any strange OS that you've ever encountered or played with, or we would love to hear about that, because this type of software archaeology is intriguing, I think. Have you ever, Amnon, have you ever installed something like
A what?
completely bizarre for somebody?
If I ever installed a what?
Something completely bizarre like these.
No. Never did.
Well, I pasted the link in the chat. Radar, it's part of TechRadar.com. The article is called Best Alternative Operating System, January of this year. So it's a good overview of these options.
All right.
I might actually try the React OS on that old computer, if that you want.
The one thing that I'm not following here, Windows 10 still gets updates.
But not for long. They already gave it an end date. If I'm gonna install it somewhere, I want it to be. I don't really wanna support it, right? To run and get updates, and that's it.
Yeah, until October 14, 2025.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And if you have the money, it'll take you 3 years. They'll give it to you 3 years more. They didn't say how much, but they
Oh,
did.
these are just enterprise customers who have a lot of, like, they
Well,
already have a contract.
I
This
guess,
is just
but
extending those contracts.
it'll be interesting to find out.
Any difference
Yeah.
between home and pro
With what?
as far as getting updates?
I don't know. I mean, I was just reading something.
I'd like to keep using the machine I'm using now for as long as I can because it
And-
serves my purposes.
And you can.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
there's
do a
no-
lot of. I use it mainly for video editing and.
I mean, I was having great service from and knock on wood, still working, The reruns machine was using Windows 7 up till about a month ago. Never had a problem because it never had to stop to do updates. Now that it's Windows 10, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Windows Update, I mean, the machine is running and is running a video all the time. So does that mean that when they say we will update it when the machine is
Not busy.
idle, I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
it won't be idle.
if they
So
count.
just turn off automatic updates and just
You can't.
or turn notifications on.
I don't think you can.
Oh, you can delay them, I think.
Yeah, the delay,
But
but
dude,
still.
I mean, oh wait, delay it for as long as you can, and then have something on your calendar to go check it.
Well, that's the thing, is that it happens in the middle of the night, then the stream is dead until I notice it.
Restart it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
first of all, you can tell it at that it can do the updates only during the day. That much you can do.
yeah,
So you can control when. But I think you can actually disable the service that does the update.
and
Literally disable the service. It's more technical. It's not just a switch on.
yeah, okay, yeah. I don't want to do that. No, I mean, I don't mind updating it, but I wanted to. What I've been doing is I've been going and I've been doing manual check for updates, because if it happens in the middle of a live show, that's a problem.
Right.
Even if it doesn't kill the stream, because it doesn't restart, the CPU is gonna go shoop way up. So it's a lot of little things like these that I didn't worry about when I was running Windows 7. So Spence, yeah, you can continue running Windows 10 for another 10 years probably. How safe you're gonna be, it's a different story, but it all depends what you do with the machine. So yeah. Yeah. Anyhow,
Find a way to stop the clock, so the clock just frozen
Yeah.
time, so it'll never stop.
yeah, talking about time and date, um, I was cleaning yesterday and I found Kathy's older cell phone from Verizon. And I said, well, let's see if it works. And oh, sure enough, it works. So I charged it up and I told her, I said, see if there's anything on it that you needed. And she did. And later on, I saw her working on it. I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm playing games that I don't have on my new one. I said, nice. So when she wasn't using it, I took it and I said, okay, let's see what apps can be deleted that will not, like email. I mean, there's no reason for it to receive email also. WhatsApp would not work because it says your time and date are inaccurate. Fix it. So I said, okay, fix it. There was a button. Went there and it gave the right time and the right date. I said, what the hell? I went and
it's syncing from an NTP server. You know.
but yet it says that it's inaccurate.
Right, because the time, it doesn't match an NTP server.
No, it was perfect
Oh,
time.
okay.
The time
After you reset it, it still
I
says
did
it's
not
not
I
the
did not
time?
have to reset it. There was a button that says fix it. So I clicked it and it brought up the phone date and time application.
Right.
And I'm looking and it's perfect. It's the right time and the right date to the minute. So what's going on? So I uninstalled it. Said, let me install it again. So I installed it again and it came up and everything. Didn't say anything about it, but it needed a phone number, and there is no phone number on this one because
Right.
there's no SIM. I said, oh, never mind. It doesn't even have a SIM, so it won't work. So she doesn't need it. It just was weird that the app said time and date are inaccurate, yet it was accurate. So it was weird. Talking about Windows 11, I had an interesting situation this week. The machine that I built for Greg, I got the license from Electronic First or whatever, and installed it. Everything's fine. But after he got it, he had to continue setting it up. It told him that it cannot use that uh, key because it's already been used. So he called me and he told me, I said, So I got in touch with them and I said, look, here's something that's happening. I mean, I got a response right away. It said, we have a lot of problems with these. Read this article. Turns out that last Windows 11 and 10 updates, they closed the loop that allows you to activate Windows 10 and 11 with a Windows 7 or 8 license.
Okay.
So
the
now
licenses you got weren't Windows 10?
And it's not supposed to work with Windows 10. No, it's not supposed to update it. Activate it. And if you're on Windows 7 and you're trying to go to Windows 10, I mean, you could have done it. It goes. It just says, oh yeah, there's a digital license. It's okay. Now it will not do that anymore. But you are supposed to be able to activate with a new key. And their update screwed that up. So even with a new key, with a legitimate key, it cannot. And apparently there are thousands and thousands of people all around the world that are complaining, I can't activate Windows 11. Or also reactivate it, like if you do a reinstall or whatever, you can't use it. They give you like 4 or 5 command lines that you do from the command line to make it work. I didn't try it yet because I went ahead and I got another key for Greg, and he said that one worked. So I said, it's fine. I'll just keep the other key and I'll use it when I need one and see what, because I went and read that Microsoft says that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. We know about the problem. We will fix it. So if you are having a problem activating or reactivating Windows 11 and it tells you that it can't, don't jump into conclusions that your key is not good. That is the problem. And if you just go there and say, can't activate Windows 11, it'll give you those 4 or 5 lines in Google what to do. But it was very interesting. I said, what? I bought a key and it's no good? That's bad news. But yeah, that's what it was. So, just so you know. All right. This is a story from last week. Charter Communication confirmed to Light Reading it will lower the default video streaming resolution for its Unlimited Plus mobile customers to 480p from 720p starting in December. And I'm thinking, does anybody really need 720p on a phone when you play a video?
Yeah.
You do?
Depends what the video shows. But if the video shows like a text slideshow, yeah,
No.
you need it.
Yeah, that's, I understand. But on a video, you do need it even on such a small display?
Yeah,
Okay.
because if I mean, these screens are amazing, right?
Yeah.
And they have the resolution. And the moment you use the resolution, then you can do something with it. Definitely. 720, even 180p. Um, there are videos that you'll need them. If it's just talking heads like this, yeah, it's not important. But
Right.
if it's I mean, nobody really needs to see how smooth my shave is or not, right? It's not. But it's
Yeah,
um,
so they're saying Charter's default settings for customers on its other by the gig and unlimited mobile plans is already set to 480. The company said its unlimited plus mobile customers can change their default streaming setting back from 487.20 using the company's My Spectrum app for no extra charge. So it's the default one. It's going to go down, but if you need it, you can up it. And probably a lot of people will not up it.
right.
And that's what they're banking on.
T-Mobile has been doing this for ages. I have T-Mobile, and plan is 6 GB a month.
Mm-hmm.
Very old plan, and I'm not updating it because I still get streaming uh, default on lower bandwidth, and as long as it stays on those lower bandwidth, it's considered unlimited. So they don't count. Let's say I watch a YouTube video at 480p, that doesn't count towards my quota. So yeah, not a problem. Problem there, right?
And it says further, the change will not affect customers who are connected to Wi-Fi. When customers are on Wi-Fi, the video streaming resolution among Charter's Spectrum mobile customers is determined by the format of the video content the customer is streaming and the capabilities and settings of the device. So if you're on Wi-Fi, it will not change the resolution. It will be as high as you want it to be.
What does I'll be watching something on Netflix, and in order to not buffer or like pause the stream or pause whatever I'm watching, the resolution will just tank and it'll just become fuzzy pixel images. And then after a while, it'll kick back to being high resolution. What is that resolution?
That's got nothing to do with the resolution. That's got
Well,
to
I'm
do
assuming
with delays and like it's
Packet loss. Remember
yeah,
packet
packet
loss?
loss.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, I just thought they were throttling it while it was like catching up, so then I didn't get interrupted.
Now, is this happening?
Well, yes, exactly. That's exactly what's happening. It's being throttled while it catches up.
Does it happen to you on Wi-Fi or when you are on data on the cell
Wi-Fi.
at home?
Yeah.
That's not good. That means that something in your
Usually
Wi-Fi.
at the beginning of a stream, Amnon. That's very natural.
No, in the beginning,
of a stream,
yeah,
that would happen.
I would say in the beginning of stream, yeah, but afterwards,
Yeah, it happens sometimes, not all the time. But it usually doesn't. It doesn't last the whole video.
Yeah,
it'll last for like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh well.
It might do with a bunch of factors. So one of them is network congestion, where for some reason the outline connection gets a drop in bandwidth. That can happen. If it happens a lot, then you should definitely look into it. Another thing might be just CPU. Suddenly the CPU is being busy by other stuff and it can't handle enough of the frames, and so the player on the side of the player there's logic that says if I can't get if I can't process fast enough, then let's drop the bit rate, and that's why you get lower resolution image.
Yeah, it kicks back to full res or whatever.
Do you keep a lot of stuff open on the phone?
Sometimes, not really. I'm pretty good about when I'm done with an app. I usually close it, like close it, because even though you leave an app on an iPhone, it doesn't close it. Though I don't know, maybe most things like Android did the same thing, that if you leave it, it doesn't close it. But yeah, I'm pretty good about closing it.
All right.
I think it maybe has more to do with what Gal said about when people are using the internet, because I do tend to watch stuff late at night, or not late, but like, I don't know, after dinner. And but then I don't know. It's not a huge deal. I was just curious.
Yeah, and you can always also just disconnect your modem router, the
And
AT&T
reconnect
box,
it.
and reconnect it. That's a good thing to do every now and then.
Yeah, I had to restart mine
Okay.
last week, and I haven't watched Netflix since then.
All right.
So
Well,
maybe
it's
it
fine.
would be a difference.
All right. We all get stuff from Amazon. So in New York City, where as many as 90,000 packages are stolen every day,
Jeez.
the Department of Transportation has launched a pilot program, Locker NYC, in which consumers can collect their online purchases at various storefront or sidewalk locations. I mean, Amazon Locker is not something new.
I was about to say that's not new. My mom's
Yeah.
apartment complex has a Amazon locker.
Yeah. Amazon Locker has 900 locations across the US and recently launched Amazon Key, allowing consumers to throw privacy to the wind and give delivery persons access to their homes and cars.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to be a problem, I'm sure.
They announced that a while ago, and I think it didn't get received very well.
Yeah.
No, I wonder why.
I mean, the other thing is, I can definitely say that there is probably about 10 different drivers that deliver stuff here.
Yep.
What? I'm going to give each a key? I mean, give me a break.
You know what would be better is that if there's consumers that buy all the time regularly, they should qualify for their own locker for their homes or their places. So it like maybe it's a patronage program or whatever where people buy stuff a lot, then they could, but then maybe they don't get stolen as much because they buy a lot and so they're always on it. I don't know.
Oh.
Better than giving somebody a key to your house. Or
It says,
company, giving a company a key to your house. Let's be clear.
yeah, come on. Amazon also has pickup kiosks at Whole Foods and Kohl's.
Yeah.
And the U.S. Postal Service has set up after-hours pickup locations in many states.
Yeah, that's a better solution.
So if you're losing a lot, if you're in a neighborhood where they can't leave it outside, look into some of these things.
Did you see there was a video that went viral about a person who had boxes delivered to their house, and their homeowners association has a 6-hour limit from the time the boxes are delivered to where they have to be removed. And someone was watching this guy's house and came to the door. And say he was a homeowners association person. I'm fining you $150 because you didn't remove these boxes. And what went on?
Dang.
HOAs are the trick of the devil. Like they're sponsored by the devil.
Spence, that was the guy doing a skit. That's what he does. He does skits about HOA.
Oh, it fooled me.
I know what you mean. It's a TikTok guy.
You know what? It probably is based on reality, though, because I've seen living in a HOA community, and the things that have happened here. We had police sent to our house because we had a basketball hoop on the street that was not permanent. You were supposed to have one that was mounted, and we had one that wasn't mounted. So literally sent police to our house. And another person came around one time asking us why we had changed the color of our door without asking for permission. So
they don't have anything else to do.
Monitoring, yeah.
Yep.
They wonder why they can't recruit people to be on homeowners associations.
You got to out Karen the Karens.
All right. Gal, I need your input here. A number of popular mobile password managers are inadvertently spilling user credentials due to a vulnerability in the autofill functionality of Android apps.
Okay.
The vulnerability is dubbed autospill. It's one word,
Okay.
autospill. Did you hear about that?
Nope.
Okay. It can expose users' saved credentials from mobile password managers by circumventing Android's secure autofill mechanism, according to university researchers at the IIIT Hyderabad, who discovered the vulnerability and presented their search at Black Hat Europe this week. The researchers found that when an Android app loads a login page in WebView, password managers can get disoriented about where they should target the user's login information and instead expose their credentials to the underlying app's native fields, they said. This is because WebView, the pre install engine from Google, lets developers display web content in app without launching a web browser, and an autofill request is generated. Um, it's kind of scary to think about stuff like that, that you would just spill it. And maybe somebody
So
found,
let's be clear.
Yeah.
The vulnerability is baked into the OS. That's what they're explaining.
Right.
That web view control. So as long as I'm trying to picture the scenario of how this is. Oh, okay. So let's say I run a malicious application.
Yeah.
Right. And what it'll do, it'll send me to a login page of my Google account. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it will present a web view, which is, by the way, a control I hate. One of the things I do on any Android I run is I disable Chrome because it is very baked into the system, and I do not want. I want a browser to be disconnected from the system. So, and apparently this will prevent something like this. So, that web view, if it's controlled by another application, they're saying if you feel something in its field, like autofill from another from password. It has nothing to do with the password manager, by the way. It sounds like it has to do with just typing the password, the username password, in the wrong place. The what seems to be the issue here is that the application can spoof itself as another application for autofill to identify because it's running through the web view instead of through the application itself. This is more like going to the wrong URL and thinking you're in the website, something like that. So it's hard to detect. I wonder if they have a solution to solve it. I'm seeing the Ars Technica article, but I'll need to read it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about fixing it. And I just went ahead and I disabled Chrome on my phone.
Yeah,
I don't use it anyway.
I use Fire. I use two browsers on my phone. I use Firefox Focus, which is the default browser. Problem is it doesn't work 100% with everything because it blocks so much stuff that some stuff doesn't really work. So some logins fail and stuff like that. And I use Firefox. So Firefox Focus is like 100% of the time in private browsing mode, and when you exit it, there's no history. Um, this makes cross sharing between sites more harder, uh, and because there's no history, there is some inconvenience in it not remembering what you want and all that. So for things that I need to, I would rather it remember the logins. I intentionally open Firefox and go
Hmm.
through the process there. I wouldn't recommend this to everybody, right? It's a chore, uh, but do understand that when you're using the default one for the OS, you're more exposed.
Yeah, I use Brave and Firefox. Brave is the default one, and Firefox when I need. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be good if you find out. I mean, you don't have to do it now. If there is a way to, other than that, to fix that.
The conclusion, maybe reading the conclusion of the article is important. So, anytime credentials can be logged the way Autospills allows for is a problem that users and the developers alike should take notice. Autospill is moderately concerning, but the limitation in both its scope and viable means of exploit keep it from being a high impact threat for most of us. So, uh, make sure that you know the application that you started, right? Or you went in, and make sure that whatever is presented uh,
For
for
you to
login
enter.
comes is actually related to the application you start,
Mhm.
right? When you do those, you should be okay. Uh, and yeah, and don't don't trust any application out of the blue just because it was a bit interesting, especially asking you to log in immediately when it's done.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah. It's just like we were telling you that if you get a notice that you have a virus and you need to do such and such, pay attention which program is sending this to you.
yeah. I wonder. The article lists a very long list, like 5 or 6. One password, LastPass, NPass, KeyPass to Android, and Keeper. Uh, there's some comment from Dashlane where they say the Android app is no longer impacted by this issue. Uh, I do not see Bitwarden there.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see as affect Bitwarden as well.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Try to search for the CV.
Um, those of you that use TikTok, Katie,
I am a TikTok stan.
some TikTok users may have skipped reviewing an update to TikTok's terms of service this summer that shakes up the process for filing a legal dispute against the app. According to New York Times, changes that TikTok quietly made it to its terms suggest that the popular app has spent the back half of 2023 preparing for a wave of legal battles. In July, TikTok overhauled its rules for dispute resolution, pivoting from requiring private arbitration to insisting that legal complaints be filed in either the U.S. District Court for Central District of California or the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles. Legal experts told the Times this could be a way for TikTok to dodge arbitration claims filed en masse that can cost companies millions more in fees than they expect to pay through individual arbitration.
Mm.
In other words, they make it impossible for you to sue them.
They're arming up. And I know for sure TikTok's not the only company that does this.
Yeah.
So
it depends too on the nature of the liability, because like you might go on a say you go on an adventure trip somewhere and you sign a disclaimer saying that I won't sue if if that adventure tour operator was negligent. That doesn't make any difference anymore. If they're negligent, they can't. That doesn't stop you from suing them.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the damage. If you're pissed off because your daughter got in trouble at school for something that happened on TikTok, you're not going to spend thousands of dollars on
Right.
a lawyer.
Right.
You could break through it, but it might not be. Probably not going to be worth it.
Yep.
But if somebody committed suicide because of something that happened on TikTok, oh boy, they're not protected by that. Not with a good lawyer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gal, anything?
I mean,
Oh.
legalese.
Huh?
Delete it.
Legalese.
Talking about TikTok.
I've never had it.
TikTok
I mean,
parent.
I see links to it and
I don't
social media where you watch something that was produced by TikTok, but I don't have a TikTok client. I've never have.
TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, has been secretly using OpenAI's technology to develop its own competing large language model. This practice is generally considered a faux pas in the AI world, writes The Verge. It's also in direct violation of OpenAI's terms of service, which state that its model output cannot be used to develop any artificial intelligence models that compete with our product and services. OpenAI closed the account of TikTok, of ByteDance. They booted them off their system.
wait, why?
Because they were using OpenAI to build their own artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I for some reason I don't know. I was misunderstanding. I thought that TikTok had an account as in like they were using ChatGPT and ChatGPT was like, no, you can't use it. But now it makes more sense if they're training their own model than
They were
competition.
right. They were training their own. Kind of crazy. Now, how many of you heard about people saying, we were sitting in a restaurant and we were talking about chairs. And then later on this evening at home, I started seeing ads for chairs when I was.
Oh, Facebook does this.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Facebook did this with my friend with kitty litter and cat food. They don't own a cat, but they went to their friend's house who owns a cat, and so the person was talking about their cat, and my friend's phone picked it up, and so then what?
No, I know I heard this conspiracy theory of the phone listening in. No, the phone is listening in, but not audio.
Well, then maybe they Google search cat.
The fact that it's in a house that is connected to Facebook, and that person has bought kitty litter in the past, and so that connection is what caused that, not the audio conversation.
Okay,
that's even
fine.
worse.
Okay, all right.
But that's easier.
Let's stop.
That's a lot easier.
Let's stop here and listen to this. A marketing team within media giant Cox Media Group claims it has the capability to listen to ambient conversations of consumers through embedded microphones in smartphones, smart TVs, and other devices to gather data and use it to target ads, according to a review of CMG marketing materials by 404 Media and details from pitch given to an outside marketing professional. Called active listening,
Yes.
CMG claims the capability can identify potential customers based on casual conversation in real time.
Fine.
The news signals that what a huge swath of public has believed for years, that smartphones are listening to people in order to deliver ads, may finally be a reality in certain situations.
Okay.
Until
Let
now,
me.
wait, let me finish. Until now, there was no evidence that such a capability actually existed, but its myth permeated due to how sophisticated other ad tracking methods have become.
The
So,
evidence is easy. You just have to see that something like Alexa or Siri exists, right? And that's the evidence. We didn't need
yeah,
any evidence.
well,
But I have the evidence that this does not exist. It's easy. Just take your phone,
yeah,
enable the microphone, right, on a recording app and start, and you'll see that the battery life drops in half, right? That doesn't happen to anyone. That's the reality. If it runs on your circuit, you will know if it runs on your circuit. Something will be different. And that's my problem with all of this. Yes, it's not about that it's impossible to do. It was never about that. But it's not possible for it to actually run without you knowing. That's the thing. Even if you cannot find the app that runs, the the um the CPU will drain, right? At least at twice the pace.
The
There's no way
article,
of doing it without power consumption.
the article that
well,
I read, and then the video that I watched about it, didn't really talk about smartphones. It talked about TVs, and they said that the Android. What is it? What is the Android? It's there's the Roku operating system, and then there's what's the
Google,
Android one?
Google.
Yeah. So they said that these TVs are on all the time. It was the televisions that it's Vizio specifically that they started looking at a while ago, and they I watched a video where the person took you through the menu on um, a Roku TV. It was like 23 clicks before you got to the point where you could turn it off. And they drilled down and they found it. And it was just one of these, and each company has their own name. LG has a specific name. Roku has a specific name of what that is: adaptive learning, adaptive listening, something, a smart something. But they were able to find it. It wasn't so much phones. And I understand why you would see it on a phone, because it would definitely be draining the battery.
yeah, true. Gal, they can also be listening for 5, 10 minutes and see if there's anything. I mean, they may have a way to turn it on, that it's not turned on all the time. I mean, you got to be a little paranoid about it and
Well,
think that
with
it's
phones, it's
possible.
usually a button press or something before you turn on Siri. You have to hold the button
Yeah,
down.
but that's only if you're doing it as the user. The button,
Yes,
all the button does is activate something in software that does it.
yes. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that maybe that's how it gets activated, and it
Uh,
stays on longer than you think. But the uh, smartphone, the smart TV thing could be on all
yeah,
the
that
time.
can be on anything
Yeah.
that's hooked to the. Yeah.
That was one thing
Main
about
point
the
is
telly. The telly draws 16 watts when it's off, and it seems like a lot of power to draw for just keeping up a smart switch circuit. So,
No,
but
you were
I
saying.
mean, I actually got a response from their support people to say that they were aware that it was drawing that much power, and they were working on a way to cut back on it. So, I learned a couple of new things about that this week playing around with it. So far, they've had a couple updates. They added some things, but I haven't used any of the built-in apps yet. I haven't done a Zoom call with the Zoom client that's built in, and did get an email asking me, did I see any of the following advertising? And they named a bunch of different advertisers to see if I had actually seen them. It was very like a 2-minute thing, not even 2 minutes to look at the list. One thing that was interesting though is you have that bottom screen and you have the like 1/5 of the screen over on the right hand side is where the ads appear. I was thinking, well, what if I was interested in one of these things? I couldn't figure out how to use the remote to actually click on the ad to launch the ad, which I thought was weird. So I'm going to submit a question to them because I couldn't find anything in the documentation on how to do it.
I thought all the ads were on the bottom.
They are. That's what I mean. It's on the bottom small screen, wide screen. It's got a news feed. It's got a weather feed. It's got a sports feed that you can customize, and then it's got a scroll across the bottom of like news stories and things. But the advertising appears on the 1/5 of that bottom screen on the right.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Egal.
Great television, though. Let me tell you, it's 4K TV. As far as the quality of the sound and the picture, it's great.
God, do you have the story update for Beeper?
Where did we
that,
talked about
that Apple is blocking?
Yeah, this week they had some active blocking from Apple.
Yeah.
But they haven't, I mean, they solve it and then and then it comes back. So there's no like solution yet.
Okay, what they're saying now, after investigating reports that some users aren't getting iMessages on Beeper Mini and Beeper Cloud, Beeper says that Apple seemed to be deliberately blocking iMessages from being delivered to about 5% of Beeper Mini users. The company says that uninstalling and reinstalling the app fixes the issue and that it's working on a broader fix. Apple didn't immediately reply to a request for comment about Beeper's new claim, and it hasn't replied to request for comment either. But given that the company has already blocked Beeper Mini before, it's not too surprising that it seems to be taking action against the app again. So
it's not, I don't think Apple really cares about Beeper at this point yet.
Right.
Beeper isn't large enough. But I am thinking that what they're doing is they're seeing an influx of I'll call it unsanctioned action on their iMessage network, and they're trying to block it. What I really wish would happen, right, is that Apple would acknowledge it and actually talk with Beeper and find a solution. Not because it's not like Beeper got a cease and desist letter or something like that. I don't think
right.
they can, but maybe they can. I don't know. I don't know what the terms are. We are talking about Beeper using reverse engineering project that this guy, this 16-year-old guy, figured out, right? And built the application around that. But it's this cat and mouse. It has its limits. I'm talking about on Apple's side. What the reason uninstalling and reinstalling works is because what it does, it spoofs a serial number of an Apple device, and so Apple can probably find whether that serial number is in their databases or not, or something like that, and block these numbers, but in the long run, it's not a viable solution for Apple to do that, right? So and there's probably some sort of um, authentication mechanism, right? That that will eventually work constantly on the beeper side. What I really wish is that they sit down and talk, right?
Yeah.
Now that there is clear evidence that this can work effectively, beeper can prove because the code is based on open source libraries, and because the code uh, there isn't any mystery about how they're doing it, right? Beeper will not be the only one. So if Apple sits down with a company like Beeper, right, and they figure out a way of actually making it work for the long run, uh, maybe, maybe we get a solution that is actually going to work. I feel for Beeper because they're a small company. They're trying to create something unique, something fresh in this world of chatting and instant messaging, trying to consolidate things properly. But none of these applications until today have survived. Not really, right? They either grow and then stagnate because there's nobody to support
Maintain.
them. Yeah, maintain them. I mean, I don't know if listeners of the show remember, but there used to be an application called for the PC called Trillium. Uh,
Yeah.
Trillium Chat, I think that was the name, right? And I believe it doesn't exist anymore. Or Trillian, yeah, Trillian. Well, it's still a proprietary multi-protocol instant messaging, but um, still it's still around apparently. Uh, but I don't remember them ever making real money out of it. So I don't know. It's like an interesting conundrum.
Hmm.
I hope they find a way to make this work, like with Apple. Like actually, it'll be a win for Apple the way I see it. But maybe
I
I
was
do not
the
understand.
I was a beta tester for a product back in the mid '90s that was a digital messaging device where you would call a person's number. Couldn't be your voicemail. They wanted to integrate it with voicemail systems like in PBXs, but they didn't do that yet. You call a number and you would record a message, and then the person's device would chime, and you'd hold it up and you could hear them talk to give you the message. So it was like a beeper, but it was audio. And they gave it out to a bunch of us. A friend of mine was on the board of this company, and we played with it, and it was sounded okay. And then telephones got cheap and smart, and that was it. Gone. It was
Mm.
just got a notification one day. Sorry, we're done. We're done. Thank you very much for participating. They never got past beta.
I saw a beeper on TikTok. There was I guess a TikTok blog or whatever that was reporting on beeper. I sent you the video, Gal.
Yeah, they pretty much read the press release. Beeper. One thing I can say about Beeper, uh, they keep their customers updated as things are going on. It's in a way, it's a risky practice, right? Because the, we're talking about customers who put their credit card down, so they'll be on a subscription, right? $2. I think it's $2 a month. So or $2.99 a month, and it's and the moment they get blocked like this, right, then it means they're going to lose money, and they need this money to survive. They're a startup. They're not making any other money than investing funds, right? So but they
Al-
keep everyone updated and they keep fixes fast, right? They keep coming up with fixes fast. So as long as they continue to do that, I think they have the loyalty of their users. But when money is involved, usually loyalty goes out the door. It'll be interesting where this takes.
here's a point that Alan makes in the chat. He said if you used Trillion, you'd get banned from many chats. Why?
I
Interesting.
don't know what the history is. They
Yeah.
still exist. I'm looking at their pricing.
Yeah.
There's a free tier. There's a free something a month tier, and then there are business tiers which cost a bit more. So yeah, I do not know.
Oh. Anyway. Okay. Let's change direction here. All those original shows on streaming services brought us peak TV. But the New York Times reports on the flip side. Back in the cable universe, they're experiencing zombie TV. In 2015, the USA cable network was a force in original programming. Dramas like Suits, Mr. Robot, and Royal Pains either won awards or attracted big audiences. What a difference a few years make. Viewership is way down, and USA's original programming department is gone. The USA Network. The channel has had just one original scripted show this year, and it is not exclusive to the network. It also airs on another channel. During one 46-hour stretch last week, USA showed repeats of NBC's Law and Order Special Victim Unit for all but 2 hours when it showed reruns of CBS, NCIS, and NCIS Los Angeles instead of standing out among its peers. USA is emblematic of cable television transformation. Many of the most popular channels, TBS, Comedy Central, MTV, have quickly morphed into zombie versions of their former selves. Networks that were once rich with original scripted programming are now vessels for endless marathons of reruns, along with occasional reality shows and live sports. Advertisers have begun to pull money from cable at high rates, analysts say, and leaders at cable providers have started to question what their consumers are paying for. In a dispute with Disney this year, executives who oversees the Spectrum cable service said media companies were letting their cable programming house burn to the ground.
It might just be a good business decision because the cost of production and look at the strike and what that did for content. I always wondered how there could be so many channels producing their own content, and it was great for Hollywood, great for the people that make the shows, but eventually it gets really expensive. You can't have so many different shows in production. And then when the strike happened, things kind of collapsed. And then now they're trying to get back. Maybe this was something they did because of the strike.
I'm curious what the data is on all of these networks now have their own streaming, or they've partnered with the people like Paramount Plus. And some of the new content they're releasing, you can only watch on Paramount Plus now. And same with Disney with Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars would come on cable and now you can't watch it on cable. You can only watch it on Disney Plus. So it's not that there's no content. It's just that these networks aren't selling it to the cable companies anymore. I guess I don't know how that relationship works.
Good point.
But
yeah, they had their in-house brand and they had their OEM brand.
Yeah,
so they would it was, and as the show gets older, you see it show up on Amazon Prime, but you can't see the latest ones. It
Yeah, but
shows you the
here
older ones.
Katie's talking about live stuff.
So
I know.
I think it's not that these networks aren't making good TV. They are making good TV. They're just not going through the middleman that is cable. They're jumping ship and they're trying to sail with their own ships. Now, whether or not, there's a whole kind of issues with that too. But I don't want people to get twisted that there's nothing good on cable. Well, there probably isn't anything good on cable, but there are shows out there. And unfortunately, you just have to subscribe. You have to dump cable and subscribe to these things individually.
Yeah.
There's enough free with advertising channels out there for, if you like older content. I know, Amnon, you like to watch a lot of these older comedy shows.
Right, but that's you choose to. It's not that they're doing.
But we started doing that too, and we go back and look. What is it, Freevee and Tubi and these other channels that are advertising only. There's a lot of good, interesting stuff to watch.
Also, too, I wonder if the audience has completely changed with cable. I'm in my 30s, and I don't know one person in their 30s or younger who I'm thinking of my associates and my friends that own cable. They're all subscribed to things. So the people that are the majority of the cable users, I wonder, are 35 plus, and maybe they want to watch the reruns. Like, they want to watch the shows.
Well, now Spectrum has an offer that includes a streaming device.
Yeah, so I feel like
you don't have to buy cable. You can just buy internet for them but you get this, you renting this streaming device from them.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's just a switch in demographics, and there's content out there, really good content, but 99% of it is on their individual streaming devices or programs or whatever.
I'd like to tell Spectrum to not waste any more money on advertising to me.
Yeah.
They send me emails. They send me, even though I've opted out.
Mail.
They send me
Yeah,
mail.
I get mail all the time.
I get every week. I get special offers.
Yeah.
All kinds of, they're trying to hide inside an envelope to say, important information without saying it's Spectrum.
I literally get Spectrum every other day in the mail every other day.
And there's no way it's a good deal.
Spectrum and Champion Windows are the only two things that send me mail. And then every now and then I'll get something about electronic bank thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Welcome to Computers 2K Now, sponsored by Spectrum Junk Mail.
Spectrum,
Yeah.
And Google Fiber keeps hitting me. I get something from Google Fiber every week. Even though it's like, why would I go? I'm happy with my 300 symmetrical service now for $54 a month. Why would I spend
you don't know
$100 for 1 gig?
They don't know that, but Spectrum know for sure that you left them.
Oh yeah.
So that's a different story. Yeah.
There's nothing I've 2 customers I've had in the last couple of weeks that are complaining about how when their kids come over who have high-tech jobs and they work from their house, they can't work. And they have Spectrum.
If you wanted a gigabit, let's say, Spence, that you want gigabit.
Yeah.
Now, you can go with AT&T, but how much is it going to cost?
Oh yeah, it's going to cost comparable to what Google has.
No, it's $15 more.
More than Google?
Yeah. So
I don't need gig.
I know, I understand, but that's why you hear from them.
Well, these are the people who are in a community that only had Spectrum until recently, and they can't get AT&T, and they can't get. They get something, I think it's called Bright Star, but it is fiber, but it's a specialty, almost like a boutique fiber that works on. It's a high end golf community. So, but the two specific requests to say that when their kids were there working, because it's only 20 up, and they were on Wi-Fi, which was not great, they couldn't work because they couldn't get a good Zoom call going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking us back for a sec on TV. So I bought a TV this holiday season, and bought it with the. I don't think it matters. It probably would exist in any OS, but this one was a Google TV, and so just plugging it uh, to uh, to electricity and just setting up Wi-Fi, I had TV. N- The the default TV mode of it, right? If you want, once you log into Google and update the OS and all that, is Antenna TV,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's an app of its own. Gives you a guide, gives you this semblance of live TV, regular live TV, right? Amnon, you were talking about that a
I
while
love
back.
Antenna TV. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, if you are entering a household, right, that doesn't really care about specific content, this basically fills up a void, right? That before that we needed at least some sort of antenna hookup, RF dealing with RF. No, this is IP based
Yeah.
antenna TV, right? Very very simplest, and
Mhm.
it's just one of the inputs, right? It's like baked into the OS of the TV.
Yeah, they probably have a
Uh,
deal with them. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But I mean,
It's there.
it's there, and it feels exactly like you switch to AV1, AV2, etc. This is just another input.
Yeah.
Launches the application, works completely well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that um, basically no real need for an RF hookup, and of course no real need for a cable box, right? You tie that in with all of the other subscriptions that you have because the apps are you can install them and all that. It's Google with a Play Store and all that. Yeah, it's seamless experience. So I think that's the key. It was how do we get to a seamless experience that will replace what we already know using the old tech, right? You're looking at cutting the cord, buying a TV that this smarts is already baked into, right? It's literally that vision.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Again, any subscription you're going to make, that is not cutting the cord, right? It's just attaching
Yeah.
another cord.
Yeah.
But the fact that this exists is an interesting model.
Yep.
I don't remember if it
Uh,
was well, you see the Roku or Fire TV, and I've been using both on the new telly. Has without me doing anything has a live TV icon now that takes you to network feeds, generic network feeds. Like it's not a specific your location local,
right.
but it will take you to ABC, CBS, NBC. I didn't install it.
I think Fire TV has something like
Fire
that.
TV, I think, is the one that added it. It's just a new generic icon there, live TV. So, well, I have Recast, so I have live TV from them
Well,
too.
Roku, yeah, but
But
Roku has live TV too, and there's a bunch of channels apparently like sports and stuff that I showed a friend of mine. He said, "Yeah, that's what I don't get that anymore. I want that."
a lot of people using YouTube TV
Yeah,
or
Yeah, but
local
that's just a
channels and
different
sports.
cable.
Yeah,
that's
That's
the
just different cable, just over IP, right?
yeah.
yeah. But that
I
this was like they subscribed to this 2 years ago when there wasn't a lot out there.
Yeah.
Now that there's more and more stuff, they'll stay with it until it's not cost effective anymore.
YouTube TV was nice until everybody else caught up, and then they had to jack up their prices.
Yeah.
I got in on it when it was like $45 a month or something, or $35 a month, and then it went up to like 50, and I bounced.
And
And I don't
now
know what it's at now.
it's in the 60s, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I was
saying.
like,
Yep.
too much.
All right. Guess who's coming to Charlotte?
Santa.
No.
Oh.
Now, I don't know
Charlotte.
why Charlotte has IKEA. So when people want to buy anything IKEA, they take a trip to Charlotte,
What?
right?
Oh, IKEA. I heard Kia, the
No,
car Kia,
no,
and I
no,
was like, I
IKEA,
bought my
IKEA.
Kia down the street. What are you
So
talking
guess
about?
who else is going to
Charlotte?
Charlotte?
Is it?
Micro Center.
Oh yeah.
Are
Okay,
they?
wait.
Oh,
I'm gonna interrupt you because I wanted to buy my printer that I ordered. And
Yeah,
I saw that Micro Center carries them, and people were like, "Oh, I bought mine at Micro Center," and like they had pictures already. And
yeah,
I was like, "What in the world is a Micro Center?" So I looked it up, and it's a computer store.
yep.
oh,
And
it's great.
I was like, "Sweet, I'll go to the computer store." And I was like, "Nope, coming soon in Charlotte." And I was like,
Yep.
"Okay, never mind."
I used to work with a guy that lived in Philadelphia area, and every time I went up there, I'd go to Micro Center. It's
Yeah,
just a
well,
great. It was kind of like going back to
CompUSA.
CompUSA
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
Tiger Direct,
yeah.
I think
but
they're the
better
only
quality.
ones.
Yeah.
I think they might be the only ones that carry bamboo printers that you can buy in a store.
I think they're the only computer store that still exists in the USA.
Yeah.
I
Now
don't.
the fries is gone.
Yeah, well, they should have moved to Raleigh. I'm really bummed that they
Yeah.
are going to Charlotte because if I want more printers, I'm gonna have to either drive 2.5 hours or order them online.
Well, if the price is the same, then you order them from the company.
Yeah. If I want to build a desktop or buy one of their built from parts desktops, I'd just go there. If it's going to be like the stores that I remember,
Yeah,
you can
well,
get
Yeah,
you can
and
get some of the things. I think on Amazon carries things from them. Like I bought micro SD cards that were
yep.
Micro Center. They
So
were
they
very
said
reasonable.
they're going to be in Charlotte early 2024.
so I have a question.
Yeah.
Uh, what about Best Buy? Because growing up, Best Buy was always the computer store, but now it's like not the computer store. It's like everything that's like
Best Buy was never a computer store. They were electronics. They had a big computer section, and it started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
yeah, and even now, I think you mentioned a couple weeks ago that they're getting rid of their DVDs, and uh, I guess they're just gonna focus on appliances. I don't know. I don't know.
They focus on stuff that makes them money. It's
They
really hard for any, and I don't know how Micro Center is still doing it, but when you can get all that stuff online for cheap, I mean, they're not a small store. They're gonna have a big building. That's a lot of money for rent.
Yeah. Here's what I think. And this is my impressions. I'm not a professional, but technology has gotten so cheap that I think a lot of the CompUSAs and the other computer stores closed down because it was too expensive for just like a regular person
Sure.
to want to get a computer. But now it's like the environment is that I would say the majority of Americans have a computer, and so that kind of niche market for computer parts and like more top of the line stuff. What? Why are you shaking your head?
Um, so the problem, you're right. Everybody has a computer, but everyone buys them whole.
And
They
everybody
buy
has
a
a
laptop. They
dishwasher.
buy a
and
desktop from exactly like an appliance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Computer parts is a very, very, very niche
Well, but
audience.
what I want to finish saying is that the individual computer parts and stuff used to be outside of people's budgets, right? And so it's gotten cheaper to where that look at 3D printing. I didn't get into 3D printing. 3D printing's been around for a really long time, but I never got into it because it was too expensive and it was too outside of my budget. But that's like a niche market, right? And so I feel like Micro Center can thrive because the prices of entry to get into these specialized technology thingies have come down to where somebody like me or other people that have wanted to dabble in it or whatever can spend the money. And that's why I think they're thriving now, where like beforehand a lot of those businesses were shut down because they would just, like you said, go to Best Buy or whatever.
Well,
looks like Entrex is still around
yeah, but they're probably doing other stuff than
too.
just
Yeah.
yeah.
That used to be, and Warp is still around.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Didn't think they were still around. Well, I would go to Intrex once in a while if I needed something.
But I don't
urgent.
think they have a store in Raleigh anymore. I think it's only the
I
one
know
in
they have
Durham.
one still in Durham.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was at least a place you could walk in and take something off a cart on the shelf
Right.
if you
Yeah.
needed an adapter or some cable, and urgently. And I bought a hard drive there one time that was reasonable. That's a while ago.
Yeah.
I miss Egghead. I really liked Egghead.
Yeah, that was a good store.
It was a good store. And they were the top store of all when they went online only. The local store in Cary at Crossroads was the top revenue store in the entire company.
Mm-hmm. And Micro Center is going to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, here's something that could be viewed as good news, and it is good news. Earlier this week, Google Maps stopped storing user location histories in the cloud. But why did Google make this move? Bloomberg reports that it was so that the company no longer has access to users' individual location histories, cutting off the ability to respond to law enforcement warrants that ask for data on everyone who was in the vicinity of a crime. The company said Thursday that for users who have it enabled, location data will soon be saved directly on users' devices, blocking Google from being able to see it. And by extension, blocking law enforcement from being able to demand that information from Google. Your location information is personal, so said the director of product for Google Maps. We are committed to keeping it safe, private, and in your control. Comments?
I mean, it's nice. Or bullshit on the reason, but that's all. They needed an excuse that the audience will accept,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But I call bullshit on the reason. It's probably money.
Yep. Yep. Last week, when we were talking about packet loss and all that, we were talking about latency too. So this article goes slow load times, choppy videos. Katie, the real problem is latency. But the good news is there is a plan to almost eliminate latency. And big companies like Apple, Google, Comcast, Charter, NVIDIA, Valve, Nokia, Ericsson, Deutsche Telekom, and more have shown an interest. It's a new internet standard called L4S that was finalized and published in January. And it could put a serious dent in the amount of time we spend waiting around for web pages or streams to load and cut down on glitches in video calls. It could also help change the way we think about internet speeds and help developers create applications that just aren't possible with the current realities of the internet. LS4 stands for low latency, low loss, and scalable throughput. And its goal is to make sure your packets spend as little time needlessly waiting in line as possible by reducing the need for queuing. To do this, it works on making the latency feedback loop shorter. When congestion starts happening, LS4 means your devices find out about it almost immediately and can start doing something to fix the problem. Usually that means backing off slightly on how much data they're sending. LS4 makes it easier to maintain a good amount of data throughput without adding latency that increases the amount of time. the amount of time it takes for data to be transferred.
So is this a license that they'll sell to manufacturers that
I
will
would
put it
think
into
so,
their
yeah.
infrastructure?
Yeah, I don't think.
No, it's an RFC on IETF.
So what do you do with it?
So it's a standard.
Oh, so people could
It's
invoke the
just
standard, but it only does you. This would work better if you didn't have end-to-end latency monitoring, and you just did it between hops. It might be worthwhile.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not something you can download and install on your computer.
No,
and
no.
use it.
I'm saying
has
is
to
it
be
something that they're going to put into the network
into the hardware. Yeah.
yeah, so that you can get because like there are lots of companies that if you have our equipment, then we have tools built in that are proprietary that will let you have better end-to-end latency and queuing. But if it's a standard that you can invoke in every manufacturer, like
Right.
if it's a Cisco to this to whatever
Yeah.
other company, that would be great.
Yep.
So this new standard has been in development since June of 2016.
Yeah.
That's when the first document. That's
Yeah,
when the
they
first
said that
document
it
has been
was.
submitted. It has become an RFC, an official RFC by the IETF in January 2023.
But it was just finalized.
Well, nothing has changed since January 2023. So finalized.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's
maybe a
finalized in
manufacturer decided
Yeah.
to
Yes.
start building something on it.
Yeah.
Right. So probably the reason we're hearing about it right now is yes, there's probably a manufacturer that's coming out with some of this mechanism. It hasn't. I feel like it has nothing to do with endpoint equipment at all. So it's just about the ISPs basically upgrading and starting to use this.
Yeah, but if
We'll
you're
probably start feeling this substantially in 3 to 5 years as equipment gets upgraded in more and more points.
I
unless
think
they,
it makes a wonderful thing if it's going to be distributed. That it doesn't matter who the vendor is. That would be wonderful because you can do traffic shaping across same vendor in a lot of
but
cases.
you know how it is.
Yeah.
There's going to be this vendor's implementation of L4S, and there's going to be this vendor of implementation of L4S, and they have this proprietary change, and eventually it'll stabilize. But yeah,
there have been several standards that have come out that are so loose that there was no incompatibility.
Maybe
there's no compatibility.
Maybe they can push an update so routers, vendors can, hear.
It'll happen. It will happen, Amnon. It will happen. It's gonna take time. That's all.
But
this sounds like an addition to existing routing protocols, right? So whether this is the one that will change, you started reading the article. It's not the bandwidth, it's the latency.
Right.
It reminded me, it's not the voltage, it's the amperage, right? It's like they go hand in hand.
I remember
they're supposed to,
when fiber backbones, big high capacity 10 gig, 40 gig fiber backbones were put out there, that they thought it was a huge, and I can't remember the date. I think it was somewhere around 1998, 1999. They started installing just tons of single mode fiber everywhere, cities, metro networks, and all this stuff. And so much of it stayed dark because there was a recession and things didn't go well. And they said, "Oh, it's like who needs more than 640K memory? Well, we don't need any more fiber. We can use dense wavelength division multiplexing and all this stuff. We will never have to put more fiber in."
Yeah.
And maybe they're actually getting to the point now where the current installations are exhausted, and they need to make them work better.
Yeah.
Well, if they can squeeze out more from copper, right? Definitely squeeze out more from fiber as well. So it's a win-win. But
just look at the signaling techniques they're using now with Wi-Fi 6+. You look at this stuff and you say, 10 years ago, like I went to that time that the people said gigabit over copper was impossible. You can't do it. It's theoretical. It is beyond the scope of physics. And then they came out with a way to do it with signaling. And
yeah, it's always, by the way, it's always true. You just need to remember it's beyond the capabilities of physics as we know them today.
As we know them today. That's exactly right.
All right, and something else that's developing, which is nice. Researchers from City University of Hong Kong have developed a special antenna that can control all 5 important aspects of electromagnetic waves using computer software. The antenna, which they have named Microwave Universal Metasurface Antenna, is capable of dynamically, simultaneously, independently, and precisely manipulate all the essential properties of electromagnetic waves through software control.
Say the name again. It rolls over your tongue.
The name of it? Metasurface Antenna. Universal Metasurface Antenna. Sorry, Microsoft Universal.
We don't bullying
Anyway.
on this channel, Gal.
The antenna adjusts how strong the waves are, their timing, frequency, direction, and even the way they vibrate, all at the same time. It's the first time anyone has made an antenna that can do all these things simultaneously, marking a significant breakthrough in this field. The antenna is special because it can be used in advanced information systems like the one we might have in the future. It's great for handling a lot of data and keeping the data very safe. It can also transfer power wirelessly, meaning it can charge devices without physical connections. One cool thing about this antenna is it can control the direction of its signals, adding an extra layer of privacy and security. This makes a good choice for communications systems where we want to ensure nobody can eavesdrop or secretly listen in on our conversations. And they said that
definitely came out of the military.
Yeah.
And military radar.
Nobody's talking about the size of the antenna.
No.
Yeah, it's the size of your house.
I don't know. I'm just
the phased array radar that is used in military applications is so sophisticated now.
Yes.
They just have little modules that are liquid cooled that they can. There's no moving parts. All the beams can be automatically adjusted. The wavelength, everything. This has got to be that technology. Something like it. For the commercial space.
It's interesting. I mean, still, it's in the university thing, but
who did it come out from?
In your iPhone
Hong Kong.
The next 5 years.
Yeah. Do you remember what a rake receiver is? It's the military way that they would use to make communications secure, because they would have random frequencies that they would transmit on. And that rake meant like a garden rake has all the tines sticking up, and each one of those was a discrete receiver.
Yeah.
So you would send a signal. You never know what part of the conversation was sent on what channel, on what transmitting receiver.
And talking about adjusting for frequencies and all that without actually changing the antenna. I mean, even the military radios, like on the Jeep, when you change frequency, the antenna on the bottom has a coil with a motor. And when you go from one frequency to the other, you hear it go, and it changes something. So it's the same antenna, but it makes itself working better for that specific frequency.
It changes the load on the antenna, because the frequency is like the wave might be a meter instead of 3/4 of a meter. So it puts the right load in there to make the antenna work.
And this is old stuff. This is, 70, 80-year-old radios. And they work.
I'm on CB radios. You had quarter wave, half wave, full wave antennas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, in order to make it work right, you had to go and like up it about at a fraction of an inch, lower it
Yes.
a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yep.
you know, the SWR. Yeah.
I remember
This
going to Arrow Electronics. It's still around. It's just a New York. Remember them, Amnon? Do you remember
No.
Arrow in the 70s? But they were a big electronics place. It's still in business.
Yeah.
But you could go up, you could pull up there with your car, and they would come out with an SWR meter and help you tune your antenna.
Yeah, you can do it here in our driveway too. I'll do it.
I know you have one.
Gal, you were saying?
I'm saying this will be good for iPhone reception. They had trouble in the end because they said it can also transmit wireless electricity.
Yeah.
So it'll zap your hand when you cover the antenna, so it'll get better reception.
And here we go again to that old technology. I was just talking about the radio on the Jeep. There is a big warning. If you key the mic on the radio and somebody's touching the antenna, they can get zapped.
Yeah.
They say, do not touch the antenna. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what these little things do.
I still have, if anybody's interested, up in my attic, a wireless bridge for Wi-Fi that runs on wireless A. And it says on the package when you tune it, it actually has a audio tuning thing where you can position the antenna, the flat panel antennas. Don't stand inside the beam.
Yep. Yeah.
It was good. I had one of the guys that worked for me. We got tests to work with because we were going to sell it as a building to building solution. And he went out with somebody on a rural road in North Carolina. They got us to go 18 miles and still get a data connection. I don't know how fast it was because at the time, A maxed out. Oh, I don't know. What might have been like 30 meg or something like that.
What height? 18 miles? You're starting to be limited by the curvature of Earth.
Of the Earth, yes. Yes. So they went out to an area where it was like often the distance was higher. So they could go, they kept going further out on the road and further out on the road. This guy, Steve, if you knew him, he would plan it very carefully. This is the guy that took me up onto the top of Dorton Arena when we were doing a Wi-Fi trial for the fairgrounds. We put up, Amnon, remember those cans we called them?
Yep.
With the multi-directional wireless backhaul stuff. We installed it at the fairgrounds, and I went up there to help him install the antenna on the top of Dorton Arena. Oh my God. That was something. But he meticulous planner, and he still works for Motorola, I think.
All right. Who's using VMware? Anybody? No.
Not for a while.
Well, Broadcom is killing off VMware's on-premises perpetual licenses and getting set to strong-arm VMware customers into subscriptions by also ending the sale of support and subscription renewals for such customers. VMware described this. What?
Good. They'll all switch to Linux kernels.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not like just switch it one thing off. Switch. I mean, it's a job to do that.
Yeah, but it's also a job to switch to their subscription model.
Sure.
And install their OS and stuff,
absolutely.
Right? So
shoot, I mean, I paid for a license, and now you're telling me I can't have,
Yeah.
VMware described this to customers as part of its plan to complete the transition of all VMware by Broadcom solutions to subscription licenses. We're also ending the sale of support and subscription renewals for perpetual offering beginning today. That was last week. They just bought it. Broadcom just bought VMware, right?
Who did?
Yeah. Broadcom.
Broadcom did?
Yeah.
I had commercial or I should say, I had licenses for VMware for the last couple of years. I worked for Nortel.
Mm-hmm.
They were developing all of their communication stuff was all VM based. So you just had a giant server, and you would just add new instances of
Yep.
for each
People
technology
were
you
using
running.
it at home.
Oh, I was running it at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I had test environments on a computer at home.
Yeah.
Loading, because I had to learn how to use the configuration tools.
All right. It's this time of day. Any last comments? Going once? I know Katie is not here. But hey. No, huh?
No, just
All
let's
right.
see. What's today? We'll have one more show before Christmas hits, right?
Yeah, next week. Christmas is Monday of next week, right? Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. I think that sounds right.
That used to be the busiest. No, it's not. It was the one after Christmas, the busiest
shopping?
show. Yeah, no, the busiest show.
Oh, because of all people
Was
setting
because
stuff up.
everybody was everybody was
Oh yeah.
got all these presents that had to do with computers.
Who was? We had a guy that would call all the time. I remember his
Nah.
name.
Done there. Anyway,
That would always call with the most obscure, weird questions. Like you couldn't even research it because it was like, "What are you doing? Why?" And he would. The reason he was doing it was like, "Why are you doing that?"
Yeah.
I found this old equipment. I want to try to get it to work. It's like, why?
All
Oh.
right, so yeah, one more show before Christmas.
I will not be there. I will be out of town.
Next week?
Yes.
All right. You have a con? No.
No, I'm just going to visit
Yeah.
my sister.
Family. Yeah.
Emily.
That's fine. Yep.
And then I have a con the first weekend of January. January 5, 6, and 7. And my
Where?
birthday's on the 4th. Downtown Raleigh.
Huh?
I said downtown Raleigh, the
Oh.
convention center.
Well, we expect a report from downtown Raleigh then.
Yeah. Live from Raleigh. Dude, that'd be so hectic.
Oh.
Also, I'm printing a fishing lure for my dad for Christmas. So I need to go to Bass Pro Shop to buy the hooks. But
Huh.
yeah, little fish. I can't.
A blackfish.
Well, I'm gonna paint it.
You're a racist. Oh, Katie.
Yeah.
You're gonna paint it, and the paint is gonna last in the water?
Yeah. I mean, I'll spray it with sealer.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
have the technology.
Anything else? Well, thanks, Katie. Thanks, Gal. Spence. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And change same passwords wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can tell your Echo device to play his show by saying, play 980 The Wave. His show is news and political commentary daily. And if you can't do it live, you can just go to nickcraig.com and listen to the recordings. Also, during the week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast. This is for survival games and gaming news and some political points on Twitch. So go to infectionpodcast.com to find out when the live show is coming up, or you can just download the podcast. Have a great week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.